Talkingbrawls, Niall McGrath here with Josh Thomson ahead of his fight against Tony Ferguson tomorrow night. Obviously a really good fight in paper, Josh. I think everyone's looking forward to this one. First of all, how are you feeling? Everything feeling good ahead of the fight?
Yeah, I actually had a really good weight cut. It was real easy, fell right off, so that generally kind of lets me know like whether my body's coming around a lot better, like, as far as I had a good camp, things like that. So it feels good. Everything feels good right now. Just got some food, feeling rehydrated a little bit, so things are better.
Awesome, and how are the injuries ahead of this fight? Obviously, the last few years you've sort of been plagued with different niggly sort of injuries. How's everything feeling going into this fight?
Everything feels okay. Everyone always comes in with bumps and bruises. There's a couple little things, but nothing that obviously I wouldn't be fighting. I'm somebody that will, if it's severe, then I won't fight. It's just not worth it. It's not really worth ruining your life, your career, that type of thing. So, but I've got a couple little bumps and bruises, but so does everyone. So, we're moving forward.
And obviously down in the gym in AKA, Kane had a tough loss recently. I think everyone, I was speaking to Daniel in Las Vegas, he was the same. He, it knocked the guys because Daniel looks up to Kane, and I think a lot of the other guys in the gym do. How's the morale in AKA?
It's good. The thing is look, everyone has ups and downs. There's times we walk in the back locker room and we don't feel it. And there's times that we come here and we're like, you know what, this is my night. And it happens. Sometimes, during the whole week, you're like, man, I'm feeling good. And you get in that back locker room, you're like, just today is not my day. And Kane can usually stretch it out and pull it out. We obviously, a lot of us, he's been carrying a lot of the load as far as the gym, being the champion and, just we all admire his work ethic and his dedication to the sport, and he's very humble. He's a great person at heart. He's got a great family man, and so that's a blow to all of us when something like that happens. But we also know that the altitude had a lot to do with it, and for all of us, I've had altitude sickness myself. I've realized the same things that I saw in his body. The attitude of his body, I could tell that it was strictly the same thing. Like, I've had that. I train at altitude sometimes, and when I come back, it's like I feel my body feels that same way that his body was reacting during the fight. And so we talked about it a little bit afterwards, just real briefly, and he's not fazed by it at all. He's obviously upset, but who wouldn't be? But stylistically, we feel like he's definitely got all the tools, and he's only going to get better between now and the time of fighting Verdum again. He'll be back for his title, and that doesn't faze us. It's just upsetting to see your friend go through the hardship. That's all.
And you guys down in AK, you're all very mentally strong fighters as well. It's one of the, I think, standout things. You're going up against a guy in Tony Ferguson as well, who's also very mentally strong. How important is the psychological aspect of fighting for you?
Well, apparently to guys like Dana White were Neanderthals that still train in the Stone Age. So, but I think there's a lot to be said about it. And then to be said about it is that we have the mental mentality to get through fights that are tough, and we keep pushing forward, and I think the proof's in the pudding. We've got a lot of top guys right now that are still in the top 10. You've got Cain Velasquez, who is the former champ. You have DC, who is the champ. Luke is on the cusp of being the champ. I'm in the top 10. We've got Nawad Lahat, who's basically a new up-and-coming star, the 145-pound division. He's like probably one more fight away from getting the name recognition that he needs to be in the top 10. So we're all there. We're all ready to go, and you can criticize our training methods all you want, but the proof is in the pudding. We're not too bad for the Stone Age training.
And how big is it for you to make a push towards the title now? You come off two straight losses. It's massively important for you to win this fight tomorrow night.
No, it's not massively important for me. Like, look, a lot of the top guys in the world, and I'm only bringing this up is guys like Chuck Liddell lost, Randy Couture, I think he's got like close to 20 losses, right? But when you look back in their careers, man, they had great fights. I don't think about how many losses. I don't look up how many losses they had. I look at, damn, those guys were so exciting to watch. BJ Penn, I think, finished his career with 5 or 6 losses. But do you remember any of that? I don't remember any of that shit. You know what I remember? I remember him choking out Matt Hughes. I remember him fighting GSP, bloodying up his nose. I remember those fights, okay? And, the same thing goes for Chuck Liddell. I don't remember his losses. I remember all the times that he knocked people out. Those are memorable moments. Same thing with Randy. Randy coming in there and destroying people. I remember those things, And so the casual fan, the average fan, even the diehard fans, when it's all said and done, You're not going to remember if I won or lost. You're going to remember the moments that I left in your brain and the excitement I left that gave you that endorphin feel of like, man, this is awesome.
And you're a guy, as you mentioned there, like BJ Penn, you're a guy who's been in some absolute barn-burning fights over the years. At 36 years of age now, is it more about you for, solidifying sort of legendary status, as you said there, and, giving the fans the fights they remember instead of really making a push for the title?
You gotta remember that I've been doing this for a long time. And you can say it, but I'm the last of a dying breed. BJ was like the guy that was the last of the dying breed. BJ is now retired. He's in the Hall of Fame for the UFC. But you got to remember that these guys, I don't even really know who's still around since I started fighting. Like Shogun and those guys, they came after me. I was here first. So, and I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying that there's guys that have come and gone. Their careers have come and gone, and I'm still here. And as far as my legacy, there's no way you can't tell me that I'm basically a living legend right now. You can call it what you want, but I have the biggest trilogy in all of MMA with Gilbert Melendez. I mean, we have the best trilogy by far in the sport. So you can't tell me that I'm not a living legend, because it takes two to make a fight, and that's exactly what we did. And there's other guys that are gonna be out there that are gonna always test me, but at the end of the day, I'm still one of the best.
Definitely, man. I couldn't agree more. What do you make? Speaking of Gil Melendez, what do you make of his recent PED test? What's your opinion on that? Obviously, having fought him 3 times.
Look, he talked about it. He mentioned it. He talked. He touched base on it a little bit. He feels like he made a mistake. I think Gilbert will come back even stronger to prove everybody that that PED's had nothing to do with it. That all of his wins and everything like that. I've seen him train. He's a hard worker.
Were you disappointed though?
Look, that's up for him. That's up to him, man. That's not up to me to decide. Look, I think things like this, nowadays in this sport, and it's not anything knocked to Gil, nothing surprises me. Okay, like nothing at all. Like I've seen guys cut from 190. IV bag up, and they're 190 by the time it's fight time. They've cut to 55. I see guys that you know which guys are cheating. You kind of have an idea. Like there's a lot of talk about a lot of guys that have been cheating for years, but nothing's ever really been done about it. I'm glad that all this new drug testing. I was tested just 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna get tested tomorrow. I'm gonna get tested after the fight, and I'm excited about it. Things like this really make me excited about fighting MMA, because now I know that I can prolong my career for another 3 or 4 more years, because now it's even playing fields. I'm not worried and concerned about these guys. Look, if I get beat by someone who's not cheating, and that to me makes me feel a lot better. Before, I was striking up wins, but I knew which guys were cheating, which guys were coming in just chiseled to the bone. They didn't look like that 2 weeks ago, or a month or 2 ago, or a year ago. They didn't look like that. They weren't performing like that in the other organization, and now they're here, and they're a rock solid and performing well. No, so I'm excited about all this new stuff, all these new ideas that are coming across the table, and hopefully get passed, and we'll move forward.
What do you think about the IV situation that they're talking about banning it? Do you think that's bad for the sport?
Look, I think health-wise, these guys got to be careful. That's the one thing. Look, I've done one IV before in my career, and I wanted to see exactly what the difference was. Personally, I don't feel a difference other than the fact that you can do the IV and you can eat sooner. You can, you feel hydrated. You feel better faster. But physically, I don't think there's a whole lot of a difference than just doing the hydrating naturally. But the thing is as you start getting, I also don't cut a lot of weight. So those guys that do IVs that are cutting from 180, 190, 195, it does give them a benefit, and I think that the drug testing or whatever it is, or the IV testing that they're going to be implementing, hopefully in October, it definitely leads to questions. Are those guys going to be able to start performing at their natural weight? And there's a lot of injuries that can happen. You're fighting guys. I'm fighting guys. You're talking about my life here. I'm getting punched in the face by these guys. I'm getting kicked in the head, those type of things. Guys that are carrying an extra 40 pounds because they IV, because they use steroids. So those type of things to me make a huge difference on whether my life expectancy, I can live till I'm 70 or 80, or if I'm going to die by the time I'm 45 because I've been taking punishment for guys that are cheating. So that to me is always in my mind, and knowing that if IVs are gone and steroids are gone and those type of things are gone, that lets me know that we're all playing on an even playing field.
Does it concern you, or do you even really care that there's going to be guys changing, weight classes because of that?
Oh, hell no. I mean, that just means that some of the 45-pounders now will start fighting. You know, I mean, maybe we won't see Conor
McGregor
at 145. We'll see him at 155. You know, I mean, I'll whoop his ass there. It doesn't matter. I can probably make 45. I could probably make 45 as well. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, like, you know, in these circumstances, guys like him, guys that say they cut 40 pounds, guys like the guy I'm fighting tomorrow night who said he cuts 40 pounds. Those days will be gone. You know, you'll have to start cutting from 170, basically the next weight class, which is, to me, more realistic for everybody.
You know, what's your assessment of Conor McGregor? Obviously, coming off, you know, a massive win against Chad Mendes. Me being an Irishman, you know, I was going to get to that question anyway. We're over in Vegas. You know, was there a lot of questions answered because people were, you know, criticising Conor? He wasn't going to be able to deal with Chad on the ground.
Look, he answered a lot of questions. He got a great chin. He's got a great fighting style. I was actually more impressed than I thought I would be. I thought the hype train was fake. I mean, honestly, he lived up to a little bit of the hype in certain areas, but he also showed and exposed a lot of weaknesses as far as his takedown defense and his grappling. I was impressed with his ability to get up and push the pace. Those are things that are very impressive. His relaxation in the cage, I could say, honestly, is probably one of the best I've ever seen. He's relaxed. He can take a shot. I mean, he even touched base on this, on talking about how, you know, getting hit by smaller guys, he doesn't feel it. And Chad's one of the heavier hitters in the 145-pound division. That, to me, is pretty impressive. I mean, I saw him take some big shots in that fight, and he turned his head and came back and kept pushing forward. And that shows that he's actually a true fighter. Those were the questions that people had. Is he somebody that can take a shot? Is he somebody that when he gets taken down, does he give up? Does he fold? Does he break? Those questions were answered, and no, he doesn't. You know, and I got to say, as a fighter myself, I've been doing this for years as a true fighter. Like, you look at those guys and you're like, okay, is he going to break? Is he going to fold? No, he didn't do that. I got a lot more respect for him given those circumstances. But he did expose some of his weaknesses. He needs to work on his takedown defense. Because I can tell you this, if he gets put in that cage with Frankie Edgar, Frankie's going to whoop his ass. Because Frankie, his wrestling is MMA. He's probably the best MMA wrestler in the sport. And I'm saying that, look, DC is a great Olympian. DC is a great wrestler. You know, other guys that have fought around the world, you know, they're great wrestlers and they're Olympians. But the thing is, for MMA, Frankie Edgar is the best one right now in the world in MMA.
You just mentioned to me there about Conor. You said you whoop his ass at 155. Conor's a natural lightweight. You know, down the line, is that something that could happen? Because Conor's obviously talked about going back up to 155 at some point because he cuts a huge amount of weight to get to 145.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not trying to call him out. Look, he's at 145. He's the champion there. He needs to enjoy that, you know, as long as he can, you know. And if he ever does come up to 55 and I'm around, you know, then we'll see what happens. I mean, realistically,
What would happen?
What do you think would happen, man? I mean, honestly, like, stylistically, I think he's tailor-made for me. Stylistically, you know, I mean, my wrestling's too good for him. I think my submission game is way too good for him. And you know, stand-up though, he poses a little bit of a threat, and I'll give him credit where credit's due. He's got a good chin. He uses his range really well. He's got good footwork. You know, he's got a nice little tip kick. So do I, though. You know, and you know, but he's good. He's good in those areas. But I feel like I have a lot more tools in my box. I mean, my personal opinion is I forgot more than this kid's learned, you know, and that's how long I've been around this sport.
And, you know, Jose Aldo as well, do you think we'll see him back? Do we need to see that fight happen for mixed martial arts?
100%. I mean, Jose Aldo did a radio interview, I believe, today, just basically blasting him, saying that, you know, once the rib is healed up, he'll be ready to go. I mean, I've seen footage and I've seen times where he sparred with bigger guys, way bigger guys, you know, guys like Singano, those guys, you know, and he's able to hold his own pretty well. And trust me, they're not trying to kill him, but he's also putting some big shots on them that make them react, and that lets you know that he's got a good chin. He's able to throw with the big dogs, and it leaves that question, what would have happened? And I think that, to me, is that fight has to happen no matter what, you know. And I feel bad because Frankie Edgar's on the sidelines, you know, waiting to see what's going on. And in the meantime, you know, Aldo's trying to get healed up, you know. And but I want to see that fight. It's just unfortunate that if Frankie steps in, that I don't believe that Conor will get out of there.
One last one for you. Huge fight tomorrow night for you and Tony. Absolute fireworks. Is that what you're expecting?
You know, look, with someone like Tony, he's got heavy hands. He's long, so you got to get inside, that type of thing. And, he's dangerous on the ground. And what I've told people this whole camp is that he does things that normal veterans or normal fighters don't do. They'll go ahead and they'll jump to Darce. They'll go ahead and jump guillotine like from the standing position. And you get seasoned veterans. They don't do that. It's just too hard these days to get up from the bottom. He really just like basically no fucks given. He's like, I'm gonna go for this Darce, I'm gonna go for this triangle, I'm gonna go for this, and he'll try it. And it doesn't matter how good your jiu-jitsu is. When someone catches you off guard in a position that you normally feel safe, you got to worry about those things. So, we had some guys try that. Some top jiu-jitsu guys try doing those type of things to me. But look, everything's different in the fight and the circumstances. I feel like my jiu-jitsu is way better than his. But and when someone tries to catch you off guard, anything can happen. As far as the hands, I think the speed, my speed in and out, he has a hard time with guys that are fast. He had a hard time with Michael Johnson. He's had a hard time with a couple other guys like Danny Castillo is faster than him. He has a hard time with guys that are fast. And whether I'm 36 or 37, whatever it is, I'm one of the fastest guys still in the sport. So he's gonna have to be cautious with that. I outstruck Bobby Green, who was considered fast, and some other guys as well. So my speed is definitely there, and it's just a matter of me getting in, landing my shots, and making sure I'm not taking big shots.
It's been a real pleasure, Josh. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Sorry to dub on your parade. You Irish boys like to stick together. I see it, but
I'm impartial. I'm impartial.
Giving me the look.
I'm impartial.
Sticking for you, but no, you're not impartial.
I am.
But it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. And hey, Conor's seems like a legit fighter. It's just a matter of he's got to work on a couple little details.
Appreciate it, buddy.